Hello everyone, welcome to this talk about how to track the inflation of airsacs in singing siamangs using Hough Transformation. My name is Lara Burchardt and I'm giving this presentation for my colleague Wim Pouw. We conducted this study together with our colleagues Kehy, Marco Gamba and Andrea Ravignani, and we would very much like to thank the Yada Park where all recordings of siamangs were made. We started this project with a question in mind, what the function of siamang airsacs is. For example, how does airsac inflation correlate to the amplitude or the fundamental frequency that siamangs produce? So far, this analysis would be very time intensive, as we would have to do it manually because no dynamic tracking is available. We do have post-tracking methods like sleep or also deep lab cut that track skeletons rather than continuous objects and are computationally quite intensive, which is something we wanted to avoid. We set out to track circular objects using deterministic mathematical transformation like the Hough Transform in Siamang airsacs, but of course eventually this can also be used for other naturally occurring circular objects, other airsacs like in amphibians or in some bird species, for example. Programming happened in the Python environment in Jupyter Notebook, and we defined different analysis steps. First, also to decrease computing time in an input video, we would define a region of interest, then walk this video through some steps of pre-processing, including converting it to grayscale, optimizing brightness and contrast, applying Kehy edge detection and some dilation. Dilation is a technique to expand the shapes contained in an image. And after these steps, we would then run a Hough Transformation, which is a mathematical technique. It's a feature extraction technique that finds imperfect instances of objects within a certain class of shapes, in our case, circles. This would be done for every frame in the video, and so we would get the position of the centroid of the found circle as well as the radius. Afterwards, we would also apply some smoothing on the position of those centroids and for the radius to decrease noise in the tracking. These are some examples to show you the different processing steps and how precise the tracker is able to find circles. We have 5 examples here, only images to illustrate this, of very different brightness and contrast. One example per column, and in the different rows you can see the different processing steps. So we start in the first row with the original image. In the second row we apply the gray scaling, optimized a little bit for contrast and brightness, and did some blurring. In the third row the Kehy edge detection was applied, and in the fourth row the dilation. Now we ran the Hough Transform on the last 3 rows of this, and the results of this are shown with the red circles, just to also show you that the steps are necessary, because as you will see, the tracking only works in the very last row where all the pre-processing steps happened, and the red circles there indicate very well the airsacs that we can by eye see very well. Now, as the plan of this was to have a dynamic tracking, I'm now going to show you that it also actually works in a video. So you have here the siamang, it's moving and it's inflating the airsac, and the tracker captures that dynamic change in the inflation very, very well. Now, apart from using that to now correlate that to different acoustic properties and to find the function, or to hopefully find a function of Siamang airsacs, this procedure can also be used on very different examples. It can, for example, be used on dyadic interactions between Siamangs or other animals with airsacs, but it can also be used on other naturally occurring circular objects like eyes or suction cups, mouth openings, whatever you can think of. To that end, we are very happy to get feedback from you and to answer any questions. Thank you very much for your attention.